Welcome to the episode of the podcast series Life on Tatami, podcast series about martial arts and the lifestyle. Thank you for your feedback, and if you want to contact us, you can find us on our social media such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and thank you for listening to us. In today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about training itself. I'm not going to talk about certain exercises or number of push-ups we have to do. I want to talk to you about how the training feels like and looks like for the beginners and intermediate students and advanced students. When I say beginners, I want to start with them. And when I say beginners, I really truly mean people who either never have done before any kind of martial arts training or sports training, and someone like me when I first started. Now the beginners, they have the best position from all the three groups, and I will explain to you why. If you imagine that you are a beginner and you truly do not know anything about martial arts, about the technique, about the footwork, about distance, about punches, whatever, and you are now introduced to a fairly intensive training under the patronage of an advanced or experienced instructor, you will progress really fast. Now, when I talk about progress, I mean both physical, mental, and technique wise. Physical, like me, I never did any kind of sports training before. Nothing that I would be proud of. So what I mean is that, I don't know, if you start training, you can do 10 push-ups barely. After 2 months, you can do 15. After next month, you can do 20, and etc. So you can truly see the progress made in a measurable way. You truly can see that you either lost some weight, or you feel more confident, you feel more powerful, your strength's rising, you lose your belly or something like that. So there is a progress to be made, and progress done for within a fairly limited time, let's say a year or two. With the technique, you, of course, if you do not know anything and now you start to learn, you struggle at the beginning, but then you can truly adapt really quickly. And what happens is that you tend to have like this expectation to truly move forward in the same pace, or that you do basic techniques or basic training, footwork, distance, how to punch properly, how to kick properly, how to I don't know, move around, whatever the technique is, whatever the basics are. You have the idea, you have the notion that once you have done this for 2 weeks, you can now move on to more advanced techniques, to more combative like. It's like when you start to first work on a punching bag. Before you can work on a punching bag, you need to know how to punch. You need to know how to plant your feet. You need to know how to stand against the punching bag in order to use it effectively and safely. And if you take into mind that you do that pre-training with the basic movement, basic positions, whatever, for a couple of weeks, then you are allowed to work on a punching bag. Now you work on a punching bag for a week or two, and now you want to go and have a sparring. It will end badly, I have to tell you, because you will lose your footing, you will get punched, because it's a different type of training. So the instructor's idea is to truly focus on the basics in order for you to progress, to learn, and to be prepared for the next step. And the next step might be a more complicated technique. It might be sparring. It might be some kind of working in pairs or in groups for some simulations, techniques, takedowns, whatever, rolling, whatever, what have you. It doesn't matter. What needs to be done is to have these basics understood and encoded in yourself, in your body, so you can truly move on to the next level. But the thing is that most of the beginners, they tend to skip, or they want to skip certain aspects. They want to skip certain techniques. They want to skip, I know how to stand, but you stand wrong. We are, as a trainers and instructors, we are not posing more strict standards than are necessary to your skill level, but all of us should be working with you as a beginner to ensure that you understand what's next, and to understand what's the basics are, what are the fundamentals, let's say, of the style or your school or whatever, in order for you to as a beginner to start to learn more complex things. So you have this clash between the expectation of a beginner and the expectation of an instructor. The expectation of the beginner is that you want to progress steadily at the same pace throughout your entire, let's say, career. Now, the instructor's idea or expectation is that you will understand the basics on a certain level in order for the instructor to start to teach you more advanced things safely, so you do not hurt yourself or anyone else. The main thing with the beginners is that you truly progress in a giant leaps and fairly steadily. With the intermediates, now let's focus on them. Intermediates, or people who had been attending the training for a couple of years, they already have a couple of years behind them, so they know how to react to a certain let's say situation, how they need to behave in a training, what's the commands meaning. If they say time, what does it mean? If a trainer says, okay, now we are going to do stretching or whatever, pair up, they know how to act pretty quickly, and this is the result of their training from the past. And with the intermediates, they have this idea of where they want to go in the future, because they still have a pretty much visible and expectation of the next level. If it's competition, or it might be some different type of training, or it might be a next belt, a level, whatever. Now, intermediates, they still have a pretty solid attention from their instructors, from their teachers, because they need to be motivated differently, in a different way. The instructors do not motivate them necessarily to be more of a in a physical way or conditioning, more push-ups, more sit-ups, whatever, but they motivate them in order to progress and do not lose them, because the progress of intermediates slows down a little bit. You do not progress as quickly with physical aspects as you did before, and you would certainly not progress as quickly as before when we are talking about technique, because now you build up on the basic technique that you have learned in the previous years, and you now do more of a complex training, complex techniques, more advanced, or the trainer shows you some combinations, or you start to do more of a uncontrolled sparring where it's more free, or you do certain exercises that you never done before as a beginner, but the progress is slower than before, and you have to understand that this is because of two things. One, you already have a certain standard learned about the basic techniques, movement, distance, whatever. Now you are going to learn more about other things, as more complex techniques, or throws, or submissions, or you're going to do more sparring, whatever, and the trainer will still be with you. He will still lead you and motivate you, whatever that might work for you. But you have to understand one thing, that the trainer is betting on you that you already know the basics and the fundamentals. So if you skipped something or didn't learn properly, or they promoted you rather quickly, what will happen is that you will get lost a little bit, and you have to work on your own in order to keep up with the rest of the group. Or what might happen is that you had been accustomed to progress. For example, if you take push-ups, right? So if you started, you could do barely 10. After a year or two, you are now doing solid 30, and now you expect, okay, so with this rate, in the next year I should be able to do solid 40 or 50 even, or this kind of push-up, but this kind of push-up, but you now hit a certain limit because your body can progress only a certain amount at a certain time, and if you are not under the care of professionals when we are talking about conditioning or technique or something like that, and you are doing physical activity in this way, you are doing exercises, bodyweight exercises, push-ups, whatever, as a part of the training, not as the goal of the training, you will not progress much more or fast as you had been accustomed to. So this is one thing that you usually come across as an intermediate, and I did as well, that I found that, okay, now we focus more on the training on different things. We didn't do as much of a solo training or conditioning or drills. We did different things. We did more things in pairs. We did more things like throws and joint log submissions, stuff like that. So we changed a little bit the curriculum, the way we trained, and now what might happen is that you had been very good at progressing and very very quick at learning certain aspects like footwork or doing solo things, forms and stuff, and now you as an intermediate, you start to train in a different way. You start to do different exercises in order to enhance your skill, and now you feel a little bit lost, but you still have the attention of your trainer, which is something that you should cherish. And why should I say that you should cherish? You should cherish the attention of a trainer, because if you go from the intermediate to the really advanced, as I talked about it the last time when we were talking about Japanese martial arts or martial arts that use belt systems, let's say the black belt or brown black belt, you tend to lose the attention of your trainer for multitudes of reasons. One of them, and most common, is that they do not have that much time for you, because they need to focus their attention on the beginners, beginners because they need the most individual work with them, and the intermediates because they need to be mostly motivated through new things, through personal attention, or through something that is, let's say, juicy, techniques that are cool, they look good and stuff like that. So if you are a brown or black belt, you tend to see that now the emphasis is on you. You should find your own training. You should motivate yourself. You should be the one who's taking care of your basic technique, who's drilling, who creates his own, for example, exercises in order to progress. With this understanding, you might be in shock because you do not have the attention. You might be in shock because you now even stopped progressing altogether, or you think or feel that you have stopped progressing altogether. And when I thought about this topic itself, and then when I thought about how to maybe explain or make this more understandable, is that if you are going for a hike and you want to go uphill, and this hill, when you start to walk up, it's pretty okay for you because the angle of the rise is not high. You can progress rather quickly. You can maintain a certain speed, And when you look back, you can see, okay, yeah, this is how far I went. But then you hit the first rise, and now you face a walk uphill, and it's not that steep, but it slows you down a little bit, and you can see that, okay, when I walked, I don't know, this far in the previous 30 minutes, now I can only go in 30 minutes, half of it. You slowed down almost significantly, but slowed down visibly. Now, when you continue on your journey, you will find that the climb is beginning to be more steep, and it sometimes happens that in 15-20 minutes you will not progress much, or you had to come back a little bit downhill and find a different route or different path. And this is something that I have in mind when I talk about the training itself, because in the beginning it's the easiest way, it's the easiest progress, it's the most visible, tangible progress that you can make. When you are intermediate, you have a different type of progress. You slow down a little bit, but you're going steadily. You are learning something new. Every training you are still doing some drills. You are still working, but you can see the path that you have walked up so far, and you can tell yourself, yeah, I did this, in an hour or two, or in this case, in a year, 2, 3, whatever. Now, when you go truly uphill, this is something that is most shocking for people, and this is why most of the people give up, because it becomes too much. And this has a lot to do with how the group behaves and how the group shrinks over time. When I talk about the group, imagine that as I did, when you join up a club or gym, whatever, you join up the trainings. You usually go there, and I say usually because of course you do not have to, but usually it is like there is a certain type of the year. New classes are being opened, so new students are being onboarded, and you come there and you are a part of a larger group. And this larger group, it's maybe 15-20 people, and in a month or two you are still 13, 15, 16 people. In a year you are 7, 6 maybe. In a couple of years you are 3. And when you are going truly uphill, when you truly become advanced, you are alone, or there might be only 2 of you from the original group. So it means that not that many people will stay, and they give up for many reasons, but this is natural what happens, and you have to understand this as well. So when you walk uphill, you have to keep in mind that the progress will not be steady at all. It might not happen in a year. You might understand something deeper later on, or through a different channel, through a different training, through a different instructor, or through rigid training. You might progress yourself. You might want to work on your physique. You might want to work on certain techniques, or you might find that your instructor will not have the appropriate time for you for most of the year, and you can only attend with him some master classes, whatever. Now, I will demonstrate this on myself a little bit. When we changed styles, I started to attend trainings once a month at a normal circumstances. Not COVID circumstances. Once a month, a couple of hours of training, where we do mostly technique, and once we are back, we have to train on our own, and we have to move on and drill and explore and try. And then the next month we can come back with questions, and it is really difficult, because most of the people have this idea that they will from the day one till the days 100, 1000, the last day, that once they come to the training, someone will take charge and tell them what to do. Usually it is like that when you're a beginner or intermediate. Sometimes it is like that when you're really advanced because you still attend the trainings, but many times it is that you as an advanced student take up some of the responsibilities for training of the next generation, for example, and you have to give up on your own comfort and start to teach, which might help you in the end, understanding better of the basic technique or drilling and something like that of your technique itself. But what happens usually is that you do not have the time to really be the one, to just to learn, just to go somewhere and have a mind reset there because someone in front of you prepares the whole training for you. I haven't had a training like this in years, because I usually am teaching, so I have my own club. I teach, and when I go to trainings, I usually go to seminars or, as I said, once a month to training, which is strictly technical, and it's usually like our teacher asks us, okay, what do we have a problem with, or we usually focus on one aspect, on one form, on one set of techniques, and drill them for 2 3 hours, and then go home and drill more. But it's not like, okay, I come now and I just stand there and my instructor would tell me, okay, now we do push-ups, now we run, now we do bag work, now we pair up, now we do throws, now we do that, now we do the other stuff. So it's usually that you have to understand, and it's an important part of the understanding of the training itself, that the instructor usually needs to have everything prepared. And once you start teaching or assisting teaching, it's something that might surprise you, is how much effort it is to prepare the class, to prepare the curriculum, to prepare not only that particular class that you are being part of, but usually the instructors, they have like this plan, teaching plan, when they want to, for example, they have two groups and they need to get the groups aligned. So they need to work with one group on this, the other one on the other stuff, and they have to prepare each and every training, each and every hour, each and every minute of the training in order to fulfill the goal, in order to reach the alignment, for example, of these two groups and stuff like that. So it's really difficult, and you should be appreciative, and if I can be so frank, of this. And so if you have your teacher and you never thought about it, how it looks like, it's a lot of work behind it. It's not like that they usually come, the instructors, that they usually come to the class and like, okay guys, what do you want to do? I never came to the class like that. I had some seminars like this, but it was more of a private, closed seminars. So it was understandable. Like the instructors asked us, okay, what do you want to work on? What do you want to focus on? Because we weren't beginners, we were intermediate or really advanced students. So yeah, it's in certain aspects it's okay, but the normal circumstances, they usually are like that the instructor knows beforehand what he wants to do today, tomorrow, in a week, in a month, in a year with you. They have the plan, and if you follow them, and if you do what you are being taught, and you truly go into the training with open mind and focused mind, you will progress, and it will be fine. But it is difficult for people like me when we do not have trainings like these, because it's really difficult to find time, to find the place to train. And what usually happens is that we tend to join up a different gym or a different style, and then start as a beginner somewhere in order to give us this sense of wonder and sense of someone else will take care of us for the time being, and I have to just be there present, be there and be present and be focused, and it will be fine, and I do not have to think about anything. But when I talk about this, it's not complaining, please don't take it like that, it's just like how it is. So in order to conclude this topic, the most important part is that every part of your journey is important. When you are a beginner, it is the time when you learn the most, progress the most, and you usually fall in love with what you do. When you are intermediate, it is the time where you feel most invincible, and you feel like you can take the world, and you can feel like, okay, whatever you throw at me, I can do. And it is the most important time for you to keep focused, to keep motivated, because usually after that you tend to keep training. There's of course some exceptions, but usually tend to keep training. And for the advanced students, or those who are instructors or aspire to be instructors or assistant instructors, or do not have the attention of their instructors because they are small group or whatever I have mentioned so far, keep in mind that you are experienced enough in order to train on your own, and you might even find new stuff to train when you look around different clubs, different gyms, or try to figure out a different type of training, different type of exercises that you can do on your own to expand the martial art and yourself as an individual, as a martial artist, as your own technique. Thank you for listening to this episode. Thank you for your feedback and your support. And if you want to find us, you can do that on our social media, such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube, where we are under the handle of Life on Tatami. And you can contact us directly on podcast@lifeontatami.sk. So thank you for listening, and see you next time.